Hey, what's up everybody? This is Mr.Cygnus, back again for WCReplays.com. Anyways, lately I've been getting a lot of PMs from people and posting on the forum, people asking about what's up with Undead versus Night Elf. Well, anyways, basically in this audio commentary I'm going to be covering Undead versus Night Elf on a non-Tavern map, which in my opinion is the hardest, because on a Tavern map you definitely have an advantage when you can pick up a Panda Brewmaster. And along in this audio commentary I'm going to include like a little replay pack for you guys, so you guys can have different examples of Undead versus Night Elf on different maps, because obviously each map has both strengths and weaknesses for different races. So on certain maps Undead have certain advantages over Night Elf, and sometimes on certain maps Night Elf has advantages over Undead. So basically on the Tavern maps, when a Night Elf, you can pick up a Panda Brewmaster along with whatever first hero you decide to choose. Panda definitely kicks some major Undead ass, as most Undead units are very low hit points, so Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire, along with any other Focus Fire from your unit combinations, can take down Undead units pretty fast. Plus the fact that when your gargoyles can't really attack your units because of the Drunken Haze, that's definitely a plus. So anyways, as you guys can see, the map is Plunder, which is pretty much in favor of an Undead player, and that's why I chose this map, is because Plunder Isle has disadvantages for Night Elf players against Undead and Orc players, because as for Undead players, they can guard rush and creep out those ogres in the center of the map and pick up those really high-powered items and lots of experience very early in the game, while Death Knight Harass can pretty much own Night Elf players as they try and creep and expand and stuff like that, so it just makes it pretty hard. So anyways, in this game I'm going to show you the best, in my opinion, the best possible way to counter this. Undead used to be pretty much my hardest matchup, and thanks to some practice I've been getting on the Asia ladder and a few good tips from a few friends, most of which Fury gave me some really good tips I'll try and lay down in this commentary as they come to mind, and it'll pretty much improve your Night Elf vs Undead game a lot. So anyways, with all that said and done, let's unpause this motherfucker in 3, 2, 1, unpause. You guys should have already been at the 1 minute mark, so hopefully you are. So it's 104, 105, 106. Anyways, basically, one thing you need to try and nullify when it comes to playing against a Blade Master, or it comes up to an Undead Death Knight Harass, or even a Demon Hunter Harass, you need to learn how to block your wisps in. This is fairly new of mine. I've really greatly improved my my build and my micro lately, or two things that I needed to work on. Strategy really wasn't too much a problem, because that's basically the one strength I had. My biggest downfall and weakness was my unit micro and all that other shit, so who cares. But anyways, basically you'll see on most maps you can find areas where a Hunter's Hall will fit nicely, and you can block usually 3 or 4 wisps behind it, and wolves and a Blade Master and a Death Knight won't be able to attack those wisps. Even in foot rush with an Archmage, if you keep the pressure on the Archmage, it's not going to have time to sit there and focus on your wisp, while that's hidden behind there, and foot soldiers can't really get in there, so that keeps that safe. Another thing, putting your altar and your moonwell allows another little crevice for you to stick a couple wisps in there to keep those safe also. And by doing so, you basically take away the harassment ability the Death Knight has, and the advantage. Well, as you can see, here comes a Death Knight right now, and I do have a wisp on that outer area. He's not going to attack it because he's hoping I didn't see him run by, so he can probably get down on some of my other wisps back in my base. But I guess he turned back to try and find that wisp, but I already moved it in time, so I stuck it in another tree in the corner there. That's one thing I kind of do on this map now, is I lay a few wisps around the map, and I hide the rest behind altars, moonwells, and my Hunter's Hall. So basically, here's going to come on my base, and this is the part where you see the slash coil going off, and that's very annoying because you lose 60 gold, and he gains experience while he creeps with his ghouls back at his base. And that's how the undead gains an advantage. Now, the reason I pick Warden first is, you know, mana burn's really cool and stuff, but when it comes to late game, Fan of Knives is just really nice when it comes to ripping apart ghouls and gargs, even fiends too. So I just do a little bit of Shadow Strike. One thing you don't want to do is go overboard with the Shadow Strike because you're going to lose all your mana. All you really want to do is just get the Death Knight out of your face so you can creep enough. So if you take him about the half health, that's good enough. No use using all your mana. So anyways, basically what I'm doing is I did a Huntress build, of course. I'm sure most of you guys are smart enough to know what that is. And the reason I did that is because early game Huntress, you can gain an advantage over any kind of ghoul rush. You will see, I guess, in a couple replays, a couple undead players tried to ghoul rush me. By the way, most of my replays I saved, I didn't check the level of this guy, but they're usually level 38 plus, all the people I saved. So these are some really good undead players, so anything you see in these replays is just going to be gold for you guys. Basically my goal with the unit combination I'm going to be going, and this is your best bet and your standard that you're going to be wanting to do versus undead in any matchup, is you're going to want to do Huntress Archer, Druid Talent Archer, using basically the Magic 4 combination that I'm sure you guys have heard of before. I think a couple people have written articles on matchups and stuff, and that's basically what you want to do. Basically, on this map, like 90% of the time you'll see Ghoul Garg. So basically, I'm keeping a wisp out where I can see any early creeping of the ogres. I have wisps on the outlying areas of my tree so I can see anything coming in and out of that area, so I know if he's going to rush in with ghouls, mass ghouls, and try and take out trees or ancients or moonwells, so I can come back in time without having to burn a TP. And you will also notice that I did put up a Tree of Life. Now that I have about 2 or 3 Huntress in my Warden, and now I start to pump out archers at this point, just in case he starts to Garg rush. That's basically what you want to do, is try and get an expansion up as soon as possible. Now, I'm just going to warn you guys right now, sometimes you might watch replays and you see people, these really high level go-to people who lay down Ancient's Tree of Life before they even make their Ancient of War, and then they start pumping out mass archers and stuff. And I have one thing to say about this right now. You guys aren't fucking listening to this audio commentary because you're Showtime wear, so don't even try that shit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you got like an APM of 300 and you're like godlike, then fine. If you think you can out micro a Death Knight and a bunch of ghouls with mass archers and an ancient, well then go for it. Then by all means, go ahead and make that Tree of Life and walk it over and creep with your solo Warden. Now there's only one map I'll freaking do that on, and that's in Lost Temple, because the map is huge and you have an opportunity when you can do that. But other than that, don't even try that shit. So just do basically what you see me doing here, and you'll be okay, and you'll have your best bet of successfully getting that Tree of Life up. And another thing you will notice is I am putting down a couple Ancients of Protectors, and I'm putting one down inside my main base right now where that Death Knight's running around. The reason I do that is because that's going to save you from burning a bunch of TPs. Yeah, that's a waste of some wood and some gold you could be using early game, but you got an early expansion down, and I noticed my opponent did not get one down, so I don't need to run up there and try and stop him from doing that. So I'm safe. It's a safe bet to go ahead and lay some towers down. The one tower back at my base I positioned there just in case the Gargs come in and they try and hit my gold mine, and it's also close enough that I can gather some wisps around it just in case he's trying to wisp harass me. And because Ancient Protectors no longer miss, he's not going to be able to fly around and just bug the living shit out of you all game. And also you'll notice those 2 Ancient Protectors I put behind my Tree of Life, so if you try to run in with a bunch of ghouls, he's not going to be able to take that down. and right now he's trying to harass me with the Death Knight. I'm pretty sure that he is getting something ready because he knows I've fast expanded, and right now I'm going to be pumping out some wisp to stick on my gold mine. And right now my Ancient of Lore, Ancient of Wind are up. So at this point I can pump out my Druid of Talon Archers and my Druid of Talon Dryads. So I manually casted Fairy Fire on him so I can keep an eye on his Death Knight, so he's not going to be able to harass me anymore, and he's aware of that. Plus I have a Dryad for slow and Shadow Strike, so he knows he has no option to harass me anymore. And also, when it comes to non-Tavern, I like to stick to a solo Warden if I can, most of the time, because power leveling a Wardens to level 6 can be in your benefit huge when it comes to using weak units like Archers, Druid of the Talon, Dryads, because when they die, you can just obviously resurrect them and turn the battle into your favor using level 3 Fountain Knives. So, that's what's nice about that. Basically, I'm sure you guys have seen the past audio commentary of mine that I went Mass Air versus Undead, and I used hunts, and I tried to skip the middle process, which you see right now, which is Archer, Talon, Dryad, and go straight to tier 3. That's still a good strategy, but the problem is that that's pretty risky. So if you get caught in between, you're gonna get screwed over. And the only time I really realized that when I started playing on Asia, when obviously the people there are aware of a lot of different strategies, and sometimes when the dead players, they'd scout me correctly, they noticed I'm teching to straight air, and they would just counter me by getting mass fiends. So that really didn't work. And another thing, if you did tech to mass air, which I did include one replay, you will notice that they can get Gargs out faster than you get your first Hippogriff out, so you can you end up losing that way. So you need to pick and choose your strategies, but that's still a good strategy. But when you're using this strategy with Druid of Talon, Archer, Dryad, you're basically keeping the advantage and the unit combination advantage in your favor all game. So basically, tier 1 you have the advantage, tier 2 you have the advantage, and tier 3, if you can get there at the same time as the undead player gets abominations and destroyers, you're going to have the advantage there also, as I'll explain a little bit later, as you'll probably see. Anyways, he does have Frenzy, so he's going to try and run in past my my Huntress and try and attack my Archers. And basically, because I've been actually microing these days, I move my Archers out of the way, and you need to focus down on every single freaking ghoul individually, and not let your Archers be attacked by the ghouls with their frenzy. Will obviously take those down really fast. You won't have anything to take out the destroyers, and obviously you won't have anything to counter those heroes. So you need to keep your units alive as long as possible, obviously. So basically, by focusing down on each ghoul individually and keeping the ranged units in the back, and using my Huntress as a tank and using some decent micro, then you can pretty much win versus mass ghouls and Gargs. Now you will notice he didn't have any gargoyles, and the reason why is because even if he did have gargoyles, I would focus down on the ghouls first and then kill those Gargs so fast that it's not even worth having them. So he was teching to destroyers instead, which is actually, in my opinion, a smarter move, because then now he can get rid of the Fairy Fire and focus down from the air and just use the Lich and the Death Knight and the ghouls to take out my Archers, so I have no anti-air. So he did a successful job in that, and obviously you saw me run my Huntress out of the way with only 9 life left, and that's all it goes to. So I'm just letting you guys know that, even though I lost the rest of my army. But that's okay, because he lost all his army also, and I have level 4 Warden, which is pretty nice. So he does have the hero advantage now, but that's okay because I know he doesn't have an expansion, so and I do. So I'm just gonna keep rebuilding, just heal up back at my base. And right now you will notice I'm building Hippogriff. That's the one thing I forgot in that army. This is pretty much an older, not really too old, like about a week and a half old. The other replays I included are about a week and a half to 2 weeks old as well. By the way, for any new replays you will see of mine, I've been working on my micro huge, so you won't see any more games of my APM being anything lower than 100 at this point, because I don't know, it's just something I've been working really hard on. And I think I'm level 41 now on Asia, So it's been pretty intense. So you can't really slide by playing any games, by not playing as hard as you can and using a lot of micro, because you lose and gain a lot of experience. Well, you don't really gain a lot, but you lose a lot of experience per loss, and you can de-level pretty quick when it comes to being high level. So basically, I just been concentrating on that a lot lately, and if I feel like goofing off, I'll just get on another server and won't risk ruining my account over there anymore. So that's something, a little side note. So hopefully any future replays you'll see of mine, I can show you a lot more micro. And my next replay, I'll probably do Undead versus Night Elf on a Tavern map using Beastmaster first, and that's a tip from Fury. He says your best bet against Night Elf versus Undead on Tavern map is going Beastmaster first, and that's the hardest thing to deal with. One funny thing he did say is whenever he sees Warden on a Tavern map, he gets up on his chair and does a Macarena. So that's not a good sign. So basically, try and keep that in mind, that Warden is your best bet on a non-Tavern map, but when it comes to a Tavern map, you should probably stick to using the Beastmaster, even though that requires a lot more micro, and if you don't micro using the Beastmaster, you're going to lose. So anyways, right now you will see, I'll touch up a little bit more on that strategy after the commentary, and a little bit of a wrap-up, but right now I'm just going to tell you guys, obviously he went Abominations, and that's the best bet for Undead at this point in the game, is going Abominations and Destroyers and Gargoyles, because the Archers, Druid of the Talon, and Dryad are going to have a hard time taking down those high hit point Abominations, especially when they have a coil that can heal them up pretty fast. But the problem is because I kept an eye on his expansion, he wasn't able to get an expansion up to try and match my gold income. So that's how he's pretty much screwed. And most guys are probably saying, well, what if he does get an expansion up? Well, you just use your Archers, Druid of the Talon, Dryad, and just go and stop it. And you have to stop an Undead in expansion before the towers get up, because if you allow him to tower up his expansion, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to take down, and you're not going to be able to do it before he TPs in to save it with gargoyles and ghouls. So you're just stabbing yourself in the foot if you allow your Undead opponent to expand, when you can take it down with the unit combination that I've been showing you in this game. Anyways, you will notice back in my base I did put down a couple Chimera roofs, and you will notice that the strategy is now going to mass Chimeras and Hippogriff. And the reason is because Undead has no counter to mass Hippogriff and Chimera. There's nothing they can do. If your Hippogriff are upgraded, as well as your other lore units, they're going to beat mass Gargs and Abominations, or mass Gargs and Fiends, or whatever Undead can think of, because that combination is just too strong. Any late game combination from any race always beats Undead. So their best bet is to try and end the game earlier. So I do hit level 5, I do use my anti-magic potion. I want to keep my Warden stocked as much as possible, so I keep mana pots, healing pots, anti-magic pot, invulnerability pot, weed pot, anything like that to keep my Warden alive. And she'll be alright. So you just keep her from getting focus fired, and obviously I don't even need the Chimeras right now because I have such a unit advantage, so I'll just focus down on his weak hero because he's out of any mana to coil it right now. It'd be too late. So he knows this good game. So Scion Small Von Leaves, it's a pretty interesting name there. Only on Asia, my friends. And I think that's pretty much covers this audio commentary. This might even be the shortest one I ever made. And that works out alright. Alright guys, so thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoy the replay pack. Let me know. Any feedback is fine. And see you guys next time. Alright, stay cool. Peace.